Hi, this is Michael Tokaruk. Thank you for sending in a video of yourself and your wife riding this lovely horse of yours. So my first impressions here when you're trotting, the horse looks like a nice type. It looks to be fairly responsive, and you got a nice trot going here. He's a nice free mover. Position-wise, I think, you're fairly tall like I am, it looks like. And so, you want to try to get a little more weight in your heels, a little more depth. And, at times when you're tall, your balance can be a real problem, or at least it can for me. So something I do at the trot is a little bit of double posting, where I just stay up for one extra beat. So I'm up for 2, down for 1, up for 2, down for 1. And that just helps me stay with the horse's motion a little bit and helps get my weight in my lower leg. Here at the canter, it just looks to me like this is a nice, short, but ultimately kind of hollow and empty canter. I see you don't have spurs on, but you're carrying a dressage whip, and he seems to be responsive to your dressage whip. I don't think the horse needs a ton of leg, but I think he needs a bit more leg, a little more hand in general, because the canter you want to create is something that you feel like you could jump as big a jump as possible with. And I think at times there he would fall behind your leg, or you'd get a little too soft and a little too quiet. And it's just not a real canter that you'd be jumping out of. So, I always try to think about creating a real canter that I feel like I could jump big jumps out of. So now you're doing a great exercise, something that I do a lot of with myself and my students all the time. And that's just cantering lines of poles on the ground. And, I thought you did that really well. And then, something that your trainer's having you do is fantastic, and that's changing up the number of strides. So just getting the feeling of a forward canter without getting flat, a medium canter, and then a short canter without it getting too slow or too dull. Something that I think is really important is doing lots of lines and just measuring lines, knowing where you are in the lines. And, I thought this was great when you came back around and did it in 7 the second time. Maybe just got a little bit on top of the rail there in 5, but then I thought did a nice job bringing your horse back in 7. But again, I think you want to just have a little more activity, a little more impulsion, brightness to the short canter. Okay, so now we're jumping. First jump seemed fine. Looks like he wants to swing his legs a little bit to the left. I think overall your upper body position is quite nice. Your balance is good. You've got a really good knee angle. You sit nicely on the horse. There when you're turning left, try not to duck your upper body so much to the left. The left opening rein is good. And then here when you come down this line, it just looks like, you're getting there underneath the in of the in and out, and then have to push a little bit to get out, and then your horse wants to get a little flat and then jump at it. It looks like he's got a nice comfortable canter, but and a nice comfortable jump, but then at times, there again, as the course goes on, I think you need to try to think about rebalancing the canter on the backside of the jump, bringing it back together with leg and hand, and just shifting his balance to his back leg so he can back up and jump around the jump and not just get flat, fold his legs and jump at the jump and low. Okay, so now we've got video from Tryon. You got really nice canter to get to the first jump. I thought you met that nicely. You're looking early to the next fence, which is super. Good canter to get started. I love that. Nice ride out of the turn there to the oxer. I thought you rode that blue bending line really well. So, you've established a good canter at the beginning, which is fantastic. maybe found that one a little bit close. It was hard to tell. You're coming right at us. And then maybe a hair late looking for the next jump, so then had to move up to get out of this line. Then here, your reins are starting to get a little long as you go around the course, and your horse is moving. It's building. You've gone halfway around, now 2/3 of the way around. So here is where you want to half halt, put him back together with some leg in hand and reset the canter. I actually did a video that I put online about helping reset the canter by just using some short bounces, because then there you can see you're just getting down the yellow line way too early, and then this last line too early as well. So, if you feel, okay, that was too deep and, I was supposed to do whatever number, and all of a sudden that number is just staring you in the face too early, try not to let it turn into another mistake later in the course, at your next line, that you're getting there too easy. So just think about resetting the canter halfway around the course, 2/3 of the way around the course, whatever you think, to help you control your horse. And then, this is a fun exercise here. I actually really like doing step rails on the front and back sides of the jumps. And this is a fun serpentine pattern. Looks like he wants to be a little bit left-handed at times. So here's another situation where as you keep going, your horse is just getting a little bit away from you. Your reins are getting longer and longer, like they were in the show video. So, something I do, and I'm not ashamed of it, to go in a Grand Prix with some knots in my reins. They just help me keep my reins at the proper length so that they're not going to slip through my fingers as I'm jumping and going around the course. Here's another video from a different venue. It looks like, your horse has such a great brain. He doesn't seem to care about what arena he's in or what he's doing, inside, outside. It looks like a wonderful type and a perfect horse for you to learn and get some confidence on. I think, they are just a little bit past it. And again, could have just shifted his balance to his hind end before you came around to the jump without the canter getting slow. I love that here later on, after you've jumped a bunch of jumps, then you've got to do, a short in and out to get your horse jumping up and around. And, that's when the tests really get more difficult, is at the end of the course. So, anything you can do to help rebalance your horse and do some shortening and, even those step rails at the end of the course is great. So here now we've got your wife who, it looks like she's being very brave and a dedicated rider riding in the cold rain here. I thought she jumped in over the first jump quite well, then just needed to be more connected for the lead change. And then there down that bending line, again, his stride got a little away from her and got there too early. But I love what she did here to fit that last line in, really shortened the horse's stride, balanced him up nicely, kept her hand up high, and did it with leg. So you got a good quality canter. And just by doing that, it was very obvious to me how far superior a rider she is to you. So that was very impressive. Something that she could work on there for the downward transition. I think, you could see where the horse wanted to fall on its forehand and just collapse a little bit into the trot. That's something that I am always working on, to just have leg through the downward transition, so it's happening from back to front, not just falling on their forehand. It's very easy to just think, oh great, we're done, and thank goodness, and just fall into the slower gaits. But if you allow your horse to do that, then it's going to do that on course when you least expect it or you least want it to happen. So just be disciplined about the downward transitions, but her upper body position was quite good. Lower leg looks nice and secure. So I think there's a lot of good going on there. So anyway, it was a lot of fun watching your videos. Looks like you both are doing plenty of good things. You're getting a lot of good instruction. And you got a wonderful horse. So a lot to build on and keep going. And I'm glad you're able to share it. And I hope that keeps going well. Feel free to text me or email or send a message if you've got any more questions. But that was fun. Thanks.